I want to bring on somebody who has been in the trenches a very, very long time, folks. His name is Orlando Sanchez. He is a United States Air Force veteran, served in the Texas Air National Guard, been a longtime player in Texas GOP politics. He was elected county treasurer 3 times for Harris County, serves on the board of directors of Capital Bank, HCA Hospital, and University of Houston Foundation Board of Trustees. Mr. Sanchez, welcome.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Doing well, sir. It's great to have you. I'm going to get to your big announcement. Probably here, my third question in, but I want to lay some groundwork here about who and where you've been, what you've been, and where you've been. Tell me about your efforts to train up Latino conservatives in the state of Texas to run for political office and change the narrative the left-wing press is told about Latinos.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the program. It's an honor to be with you. As you know, Chris, I've been active in the Republican Party since the 1980s. In 92, I was the Republican nominee for the Texas House of Representatives. And then I was elected to the Houston City Council for 3 terms for 6 years, and I ran for mayor in 2001. And then I became the first Latino immigrant ever elected countywide in Harris County as county treasurer. And so during that period, I had been watching the voter population trends, not voter trends, but population trends in Texas. And the state demographers were predicting the explosion of the Latino population in Texas. And at the time, I realized that my party, the Republican Party, wasn't doing enough to reach out and explain to the Latino community that our values were aligned. And so I created an organization called Texas Latino Conservatives. And the whole purpose of it was to create a political action committee to support conservative Hispanics running across the state of Texas. But we also created a 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization that teaches and advocates for conservative principles among Latinos. And within that organization, I created what's called Leadership Latino, which is a class, if you will, that trains young Hispanics how to participate in the political process, anywhere from press secretary to precinct chair to candidate. Whatever level they want to participate in, we would train them. And oddly enough, in 2017, I went down to Brownsville, Texas, and held one of these classes. And one of my students was a young lady named Mayra Flores. And, the rest is history. She became the first Mexican-born Latina conservative ever elected to the U.S. Congress. But she wasn't alone, Chris. Michelle Gamboa, a native of Juarez, Mexico, a Texas A&M graduate, was the first Latina ever elected to the Longview City Council. We helped elect Roman Garcia to the City Council in Kerrville, Texas. Joel Castro is a city council member in Alvin, Texas. And so we've been instrumental in many conservative Latinos running for office, not the least of which we won a Democrat district in southern Bexar County with a candidate by the name of John Lujan. John now sits as a Republican in southern Democrat Bexar County as a result of the efforts of the Texas Latino Conservatives and our coalition partners. Indeed. So we're doing great work. And as you know, Chris, we are in a major political realignment in the United States.
As a matter of fact, it was the subject of my new book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution. It is the greatest political shift, folks, since the creation of the Republican Party. It's coming out December 9th, so make sure you mark that on your calendar, or maybe you can jump on Amazon and get a copy early. You'll save yourself some bucks. But, folks, Trump won the majority of Hispanics in Texas. 48% of Latinos across the nation. Mr. Sanchez, why do you think that happened?
Well, several reasons. As you know, the Latino community is culturally conservative. But above that, we are economically conservative. And so this realignment, this political phenomenon that we see going on across the United States, but particularly in Texas, started in the 1980s. To have a political realignment, you have to have a pre-alignment, and that started back in the 1980s with Ronald Reagan. A pre-alignment basically is apathy and disillusionment within one party. We saw that in the 1980s where Democrats were a little disillusioned, they were apathetic, and that created a whole new set of independent voters in America. What happened? In the 1980s, they went for Ronald Reagan and then a big landslide in 1984. And so that disillusionment led to a de-alignment, which was they completely decoupled from the Democratic Party. And so what's happened today, Chris, is now a realignment, meaning that Latinos are now shifting to the conservative party, the Republican Party. And we see this trend. Let me just give you some statistics. In 1976, the Democrats won 74% of the Latino vote. In 2012, it slipped down to 71. In 2016, Hillary won 66% of the Latino vote. In 2020, Biden won 65% of the Latino vote. And in 2024, Harris only got 52% of the Latino vote. Trump achieved the highest percentage of Hispanic votes in the United States, getting 46% of the vote. So we're clearly in a major political realignment in this country, led by Hispanics and Latinos in this country.
Indeed. And again, because of the cultural conservatism you made reference to, and I think it's also just on a practical level. You look at the Democrat Party, which is now the party of the criminal, the party of the criminal illegal alien, the party of surrendering to communists and socialists and Marxists all over the globe, of less quality of life. And no Latino works hard all their lives to give less to their children, and that's the Democrat Party. And they are the party of slavery. Let's not forget that. Folks, we're talking to Orlando Sanchez. He is a United States Air Force veteran, been in Texas politics many, many moons. And I want to ask you about the announcement you made just last week, because you are going to challenge an individual I call Looney Lena Hidalgo. Looney Lena Hidalgo as the in the commissioner's court for county judge. And I'm just fascinated to ask you this question about what prompted you to come off the sidelines, and by the way, doing great work that you're doing, to make this challenge. What was it, the number one thing that got you off that and to jump into the race?
Well, Chris, as you know, I spent 12 years as the county treasurer of the third largest county in the United States. I actually ran the checkbook. And by the way, I posted that checkbook online for complete transparency for the taxpayers. Mm-hmm. But in the period that I served as county treasurer, Harris County was in the black. That means that we ended every fiscal year with money in the bank. In addition to that, we were lowering our bond indebtedness. That means the amount of money we borrowed, we were paying that down. Compare that to 2025, where Harris County now is approaching $300 million deficit. The property tax rate has exploded to 38.5 cents per $100 valuation. What does that mean? That means that the hardworking families of Harris County are now having to pay a bigger chunk of their income to a growing government that doesn't serve what the taxpayers expect. We expect a criminal justice system that serves the hardworking, law-abiding taxpayer. We've turned the tables with criminal justice. We now make it profitable in Harris County to be a criminal. What does that mean? Burglary of a motor vehicle. You park in a parking lot. They break your window. They steal your laptop. They take your gun. They take items out of your car. That criminal is given a free get-out-of-jail card to go do it again, and the taxpayer has to buy a new laptop, a new weapon, replace the window, miss work, and so this county is completely upside down. We've created departments in Harris County called Economic Equity and Opportunity. What the heck does that mean? How about addressing flood control? How about our toll roads, our streets, our infrastructure? So we've taken our eye off the ball in Harris County, and I decided I'd had enough of Lena Hidalgo.
Yeah, well, we haven't. They have. They've taken their eye off the ball. And, you mentioned the already skyrocketing tax burden that the left-wing run Harris County and the left-wing run city of Houston, what they must endure. And now they want to raise your taxes even more. Looney Lena Hidalgo, I'm going to play this soundbite for you and just get your reaction. The commissioner's court in Harris County is run by a functional child, folks. And you're going to hear this functional child as she actually solicits the help of actual children to seek to raise your taxes. I'll play the soundbite, then I'll get your reaction, sir.
So the motion is to set a public hearing on August 15th, 2025 at 10 a.m. to consider for the Harris County General Fund the proposed 2025 tax rates. Bring the kids here and ask each member yes or no. Yes, Commissioner Garcia.
Point of order. There's been a motion made, no second, and we're in discussion. So
I didn't make a motion. I just read what it's going to be.
No, you said.
No, I didn't say. No, I didn't.
Yes,
okay, well, I take it back.
Education's important.
So kids, we're trying to see, can you guys count to 3? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm 1. So we need 2 and 3. We need 3 votes so that we can put this on the ballot, okay?
Disgusting is the word, as she would use children to try to raise taxes on their parents to lower the children's quality of life. That this is insanity. And by the way, Garcia on the commissioner's court, folks, is also a Democrat. And I don't know, Mr. Sanchez, you saw this display, and I think many people in Houston and Harris County were like, that's a step too far. Many Democrats said it's a step too far. What was your reaction?
Well, Chris, let me tell you, this is what happens when you hire a rookie, someone that has no clue about government, its responsibilities, its roles to serve the taxpayers. Lena Hidalgo had absolutely zero experience in government, and you get what you pay for. You got a rookie, and now 8 years later, the county is upside down, criminals are profiting, tax rates have gone through the roof, infrastructure is crumbling, and so this is the 3rd largest county in the United States. We cannot have rookies at the helm. And this is exactly what we're seeing. You see a person that is in a combative relationship, even with her politically aligned colleagues. Leslie Briones and Adrian Garcia are Democrats. She's always fighting with them. She does have the support of Commissioner Rodney Ellis, whom I argue is really the person in charge of Harris County. And, of course, we've seen the results. We didn't elect Rodney Ellis to be the county judge. We had elected him to be the commissioner of Precinct 1. But for God's sake, she has ceded her responsibility to Mr. Ellis, and now you see this commotion on the commissioner's court. We can't afford to have rookies in the job, Chris.
Right. And again, I think that she didn't have, not only did she not have any experience in government, she had no experience in life whatsoever. And I think you're spot on in your evaluation that Rodney Ellis is the puppet master behind this meat puppet who is the is the county judge, Lena Hidalgo, who has been abhorrent at her job. Now, judging how unpopular this woman is, Lena Hidalgo, with even those of her party on the court, I would imagine there are some Democrats who might be supporting you coming in and actually winning this election to restore sanity to a commissioner's court, so maybe they can actually get some business done. What do you think?
Well, let me say that, first of all, the bridge to the future of the Republican Party and Harris County is the Latino vote.
Yep.
The more Hispanics we get crossing over and voting conservative, voting with the Republican Party, the longer the Republican Party and conservatism stays in Texas. And my whole goal for the last 25, 30 years has been to ensure that Hispanics receive the message of fiscal conservatism, family values, strong patriotism, which are all the values of the Hispanics. And so my hope is that we can win Harris County back with the large growing percentage of Hispanics that are participating. You know, let me give you a statistic. In the year 2000, only 7.4% of the vote nationally was Hispanic. In 2020, it went up to 13.6. In 2024, it became 14.7%. In 2026, we're projected to be Hispanic conservatives, more than 15% of the total vote, meaning that you cannot win elections in the United States, in Texas, or Harris County without the Latino conservative vote.
It's awesome. And again, it shows you, folks, it's right in line with what we're writing about. I wasn't being rhetorical when I said it was the biggest political revolution since the formation of the Republican Party. And that's exactly what we cover in The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino. And one of the individuals who's been in the trenches, making sure that rise happened, that Latinos could actually be the instrument by which not keeping the Democrats in power in perpetuity, but also giving real Americans a chance to have a voice again in their government. Orlando Sanchez, if folks want to check out your effort to become the next county judge of Harris County, where can they go?
Well, I'm going to give two websites, Chris. First of all, our biggest and overarching task is to keep Texas conservative and keep Texas red for the foreseeable future and for generations to come. So I invite people to go to TexasLatinoConservatives.com. We survive because of the generosity of Texans. But if they're interested in the upcoming election in 2026, where I've declared my candidacy for county judge of Harris County, they can go to OrlandoSanchez.com.
All right, OrlandoSanchez.com. And by the way, folks, I just have to point out that the demographics, just the numbers alone, scares the daylights out of leftists. I don't recommend the Republican Party per se, and that's why I am the executive director of the Conservative Hispanic Society. Why Mr. Sanchez here runs a conservative organization. It's an organization of ideals and of values, not necessarily of political parties. Vote your values. It's like I always tell you. Mr. Sanchez, thank you very much. Appreciate the time, and good luck. Keep us posted.
Thanks, Chris.
Telephone number is 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Vote your values. Are you a Marxist? Are you a leftist? Are you a socialist? Well, if you are, then you're going to vote Democrat. If you're not, then you won't be voting Democrat. Back in a minute, Chris Salcedo Show on the Voice of Texas.
Houston.